and a sore back all made me a seething cauldron of rage. But more importantly for this story, it had been over 48 hours since I'd last taken a dump. I had tried to jumpstart the process, beginning my day with a bowl of bowel-cleansing fiber cereal, followed by 6 coffees at Starbucks, and a bean-laden meal at Taco Bell.
They lost more money than health.
As I was returning home from work, my insides let me know with subtle rumbles and emissions of the occasional tiny fart that big things would be happening soon.
Oh God.
Alas, I had to stop at the mall to pick up an order for my girlfriend. I completed the task, and as I was walking past the store on my way back to the car, I noticed a large sale sign proclaiming "Everything must go." This was prophetic, for my colon informed me with a sudden violent cramp, a wet squeaky fart, that everything was indeed about to go. I hurried to the mall bathroom. I surveyed the 5 stalls, which I have numbered 1 through 5 for your convenience. Number 1, occupied. Number 2, clean, but bathroom protocol forbids its use as it's next to the occupied one. Number 3, poop on the seat. Number 4, poop and toilet paper in bowl, unidentifiable liquid on seat. Number 5, no toilet paper, no stall door, unidentifiable sticky objects near base of toilet. Clearly, it had to be stall number 2. I trudged back, entered, dropped my pants, and sat down. I'm normally a fairly shameful shitter. I wasn't happy about being next to the occupied stall, but big things were afoot. I was prepared to bear down when all of a sudden the sweet sounds of Beethoven came from the followed by a fumbling and then the sound of a voice answering the ringing phone. As usual for a cell phone conversation, the voice was exactly 8 decibels louder than it needed to be. Out of shameful habit, my sphincter slammed shut. The inane conversation went on and on. Mr. Shitter was blathering to Mrs. Shitter about the shitty day he had. I sat there cramping and miserable, waiting for him to finish. I too had a crappy day, but was too polite to yak about it in public. My bowels let me know in no uncertain terms that if I didn't get crapping soon, my day would get even crappier. Finally, my anger reached a point that overcame shamefulness. I no longer cared. I gripped the toilet paper holder in one hand and braced my other hand against the side of the stall and pushed with all of my might. I was rewarded with a fart of colossal magnitude. A cross between the sound of someone ripping a very wet bed sheet in half and plywood being ripped off a wall. The sound transitioned into a heavily modulated low RPM tone, not unlike someone firing up a Harley. I managed to reach the resonance frequency of the stall, and it shook gently. Once my ass cheeks had stopped flapping in the breeze, 3 things became apparent. 1, the next door conversation had ceased. 2, my colon continued seizing, indicated that there was much more to come. And 3, the bathroom was beset by a horrible eldritch stench. It was as if a gateway to hell had been opened. The foul miasma quickly made its way under the stall, choking my poop mate. This heralded fart had ended his conversation in mid-sentence. "Oh my God," he uttered, following suppressed sounds of choking, and then, "No, baby, that wasn't me," cough, gag. "You could hear that?" Gag. Now there was no stopping me. I pushed for all it was worth. I could swear that in the resulting cacophony of rips, squirts, splashes, ploots, and blasts, I was actually slightly lifted off the pot. The amount of pure mass inside me was incredible. It sprayed against the bowl with tremendous force. Later, in a survey of the damage, I would find that liquid poop had actually managed to ricochet out of the bowl and run down the side onto the floor. But for now, all I could do was hang on for the ride. Next door, I could hear him fumbling with paper dispenser as he desperately tried to finish his task. Little snatches of conversation made themselves heard over my trumpeting anal symphony. Gotta go. Horrible. Vomit in the mouth. Not making it. Tell kids love them. Oh God. Followed by more sounds of suppressed gagging and retching. Alas, it is evidently difficult to hold one's phone and wipe one's bum at the same time. Just as my high-pressure abuse of the toilet was winding down, I heard a plop and splash from next door, followed by a string of swear words and gags. My poop mate had dropped his phone into the toilet. There was a lull in my production, and the restroom became deathly quiet. I could envision him standing there, wondering what to do. A final anal announcement came trumpeting from my behind, small chunks plopping noisily into the water. That must have been the last straw. I heard a flush, fumbling with the lock, and then the stall door was thrown open. I heard him running out of the bathroom, slamming the door behind him. After a considerable amount of paperwork, I got up and surveyed the desolation. I felt bad for the janitor, who would be forced to deal with this, but I knew flushing was not an option. No toilet in the world could handle this unholy mess. Flushing would only lead to a floor filled with filth. As I left, I glanced into the next door stall. Nothing remained in the bowl. Had he flushed his phone, or had he pulled it out and left the bathroom with nasty, unwashed hands? The world would never know. I exited the bathroom momentarily proud and shameless, looking around for a face glaring at me, but I saw no one. I suspect that somehow my supernatural elimination has managed me to transfer my shamefulness to my anonymous poop mate. I think it'll be a long time before he can bring himself to poop in public, and I doubt he'll ever answer his cell phone in there too. And this, my friend, is why you should never talk on the phone in the bathroom.